Good morning, everyone. So yesterday we read in the Parsha concerning Shmitah and Yovel in chapter 25 of Vayikra, verse 8. You should count for yourself 7 Shabbatot of years. 7 years, 7 times. And they should be for you the days of the 7 Shabbatot of the years, 49 years. Then you should pass the horn, shofar, of Teruah, of awakening, in the 7th month, the 10th of the month, the Day of Atonement. You should pass the shofar throughout your land. You should sanctify the 50th year, and you should call freedom in the land for all its inhabitants. It is a jubilee for you, and you should turn each one to his possessions, and everyone should turn to his family. It is a jubilee year, the 50th year. It should be for you. You should neither sow nor harvest. It's a jubilee, it is holy unto you. You can eat all its produce from the field. And in that jubilee year, each person should return to his original estate. Then there continues many different social laws. And go into great details. There's a description of how capitalism shall not rule the land through bringing real estate, which means possession of houses and fields in the hand of the few, to then become the capitalist owners, while the rest of the population, most of them, will be, to some extent, even possibly manipulated by the few rich. And really we have here what's been adopted by many who sought to create a better distribution of wealth and rather have it in the hands of the few. And you find in the course of history, especially the legal systems of the Western world, that many have adopted this. Even until today we have this concept of leaseholds, leases for the same number of years, leases 49 years until today, in hundreds of countries, while sometimes the state takes ownership, as it were, of the land in order to make sure that the rich people won't go and have all the real estate. It's really a very balanced society, if the balance is kept to, as the law of God, as it was in the Chumash, Keli Haaretz, the earth belongs to me, but Haaretz means specifically the land of Israel. The land of Israel is in the beginning of yesterday's Parsha described as not belong to the people of Israel, it belongs to God. Keli Haaretz. The land of Israel should act as a directive to mankind. Because God saw that mankind is not following his laws, but the people of Israel were to some extent ready to do so. And the idea is, that even the terms we have here, by all these laws which are mentioned here, if you go into them more deeply in a comprehensive manner, it's a redemption for the land, and really as a result, a redemption for the people. And of course, it depends, God says, on your cooperation. I can give you all these laws. One of the first things is to recognize the Eretz Israel does not belong to man. Essentially, but I want this to be like Hashem Haaretz Olam. Haaretz Natan Libnei Adam. He has given the whole of the world, this globe, over to human beings on the condition that they recognize it comes from Hashem. Because the Gemara asks a question. The two verses contradict one another. One verse we recited this morning from Tehillim. Hashem ha'aretz umloa. To Hashem belongs the earth and whatever fills it. So, belongs to Hashem. But it says another Tehillim, which we recite on Rosh Chodesh and Yom Tov, where we say, Hashamai Shamam Hashem. The heavens belong to God. But the earth is given to man. Who does it belong to? To Hashem or to man? The heavens we know belong to God. So Gemara says, the answer, if you know the answer of the Gemara, Gemara says, Kan lifnei bracha v'kan la'acha bracha. If you say bracha on what you use from this earth, that means you recognize it comes from Hashem, the food, the drink, and the crops, everything, the land. Then, if you recognize it belongs to Hashem, then you can use it. Then it gives it over to you. The bracha and the concept of bracha is the passport of the human being to use this earth. That's a universal teaching. But specifically, it has to be applied, not just as a vague teaching and just with saying a bracha. No, it's something much deeper, which is analyzed in yesterday's parsha. Namely, that Hashem even gives many details which the individual citizens of the land of Israel, which belongs to Hashem, have to fulfill, like looking after the poor in every way. And the laws of Shmitah, where you have to leave the land to anyone who needs it, any poor people, whether they're Jews, they're non-Jews, they're all different laws in yesterday's parsha. That Kili ha'aretz, that belongs to me. So first I want to take a lesson from this directly for today. When there's many hopes, and perhaps already many disappointments, from the proposed visit of the President of America, we know the Leib Malachim B'Yad Hashem, the heart of kings are in the hands of Hashem. We don't know what's going to happen. And also, many people are afraid. There are all sorts of possibilities, some of them, which might mean giving back so many sections of Eretz Israel and coming to a situation of great security, making pacts with those who from experience we've seen their pacts for peace are not always for peace, but for pieces, to take away pieces from the land of Israel and give it over to those who really want to send the Jews into the sea. So it's a bit risky also. So perhaps one of the mistakes we're making, on the whole, if you go back, let's go back to the Balfour Declaration and what preceded it. Because there was a great feeling when Jews, in the last almost 200 years, were beginning to return to what was then called Palestine, but which was a rather barren area. Only here and there something was growing. You reach Mark Twain's description. In his time, he went to visit said, it's a desolate land. But Jews came back and began to be more significant. So, of course, there were Muslims there. The Muslims were Jordanian citizens. And that's how things have developed. The establishment of the State of Israel. So and it was supported, this project, by many countries, including also even for a time, the Muslims didn't mind it, had ups and downs, depending on the Sultan and so on. So, one of our errors, we should have learned from Jewish history, because we made that error constantly, that we felt the land is ours, belongs to me, belongs to this people, almost all the Jews. But we should know, even the Balfour Declaration, which was a culmination on a more political level, because the mandate, what's going on in that area, is given over to Great Britain. They're not just expressing their ideas, also the Americans, even more so probably. Look, the Americans, the British, they give allegiance to God. Okay, it's not exactly the same God as ours. It's somewhat of a distortion for many of the Christians. For others, no, not so much. Many of those built up in the United States, they had a close association with the Puritan approach, quite near to sort of a Unitarian church, rather than one that believed in the Catholic interpretation. So, even in universities, they learned Hebrew. They went back to what they call the Old Testament, and they picked up Old Testament values, and they all recognized the land of Israel is a holy land, Jerusalem is a holy city, and the Jewish people are really supposed to be holy people. So how is it that what was accepted by the nations of the world, that to understand Israel and what's then called Palestine, we have towards it an association of holiness? No. Neither in the national anthem, nor in the Declaration of Independence of the State of Israel was the name of God not mentioned. Why not? We've never heard of such a thing. Amongst the Western world, they also wonder what's going on here. Is this like an aspect of communism? What's going on? Why do they? What's wrong with giving allegiance to God? What? Some slip service, but still, that was an accepted matter. And every session in the American prayer begins with a prayer to God, except in Israel. How can you have such a situation? So it's time we learned our lesson. That even in the last war, which was Tzuk Eitan, some of the Muslim preachers in the mosques, when they saw that despite the enormous military support they got from Iran, Hamas, Gaza, Palestinians, they were trained by them as well. They got all the weapons, most up to date, and nearly all missed their target. So one of them said, God must love the Jews. Otherwise, why are so many outside being killed, and their side doesn't hit the target? The first lesson from yesterday's part is, Ki li haaretz, the land belongs to me. If you deny that, you're taking the ground from under your feet. And I'm pleased to say that there is, Golda Meir also knew the lesson, even when we were in a difficult situation. When she had to speak to Americans, she quoted from the Psalms and from the Bible, our Bible. She knew that would go down with the Americans. And when somebody asked her, why for so many years you've been one of the leaders of the Labour Party, why did you never mention God's name? So she said, if I were here in Israel, in a time when we're difficult, I would mention God's name, then many of the disbelievers, they would say, if after so many years of never mentioning his name, never quoting verses, suddenly you quote, it means it's a very critical situation. We're going through defeat, and it would discourage the people. That's what she answered. But really, I believe in God as well. So why do we say it? It's very important. So Netanyahu does say it. He said his famous speeches. He gave a speech. This is the last one in the White House. He knew how to mention verses from the Bible and also give allegiance to God. God should bless America. It's all in here. And God would, if we would say God should bless all the nations around, they should all have enough to eat. We should say that. It will change the situation. It will change the political situation. And it will look at it realistically. So this is what we have to learn. I hope it'll come through somehow. Min Charedim in the Knesset, they don't want to say things that will provoke. If they're mentioned, God said this, that, and the other, then you get some of the leftists to go and speak against it. You're not going to have in mind what the other side's going to say. So it's not so simple. It's got to go from underneath, from the ground. Li haaretz. And Li haaretz is a basis for this social code which is adopted all over the world. You see what my youth, or someone called one of the great leaders of American political thought, economic thought, called Henry James, not the other James. One James was the pragmatist, and Henry James the economist. And how he built this up as the basis for social code, of course it's not a big ideal. And what I do want to bring in is that the social code is all bound up with the Shmitah and the Yovel. The 7th year, it's also been adopted everywhere now. It's sabbatical. A person takes a sabbatical from university. They give, after 7 years, they give him, or the 7th year, he can have free for his own research. It goes all over the world. So, nevertheless, the counting of the days in the Shabbatot and the years is very significant, and we really want to understand it. And how does it work? Even there are many analogies made in the halakha, in the ancient tradition, the Gezerah Shabbat, to compare the Shmitah and the Yovel to its parallel in the Jewish year. You tell me, what's the parallel in the Jewish year, in 1 year, to the Shmitah and the Yovel? Even in the wording?
Shabbos.
What else? Shabbos, one thing. You're quite right.
Shavuot.
Shavuot. So we have the Shabbat, which is the basis of 7. The Shabbat has a special meaning. It's not the same as Shavuot. It's a week. And then we have the exact parallel almost of the 49 days from Exodus from Egypt till the giving of the Torah, which is in the desert, and also the 50th day was the day when the Torah was actually given, after you've done the counting. And when you come to the land of Israel and settle in it, you've got to transfer the celebration from Pesach to Shavuot, which applies to every individual Jew, even if he's in the desert, even if he's in the desert of the nations, even if he doesn't have his own land at all. If he lives in Honolulu or lives in the North Pole, he has to do the counting from Pesach to Shavuot. When you come to the land, then the Bet didn't have to do the counting. That's why instead of saying That means wherever you are in the world, in the desert, whether it's Sinai desert or whether it's the Arctic desert, whichever desert it's Sahara desert, wherever you have to count in plural, each person. But when you're in your land, the representative, at least the Sanhedrin, or the high bed, they have to do the counting. Because there's a national counting, it's got to do with a nation in its land, where it should show fulfillment, how to establish human society on the basis of Torah. So that's the parable. So there are many dinim concerning both how to count the Omer in one direction, and both how to celebrate the Shmitah and the Yovel, the Jubilee, which go together. It's also fascinating. You know more about this, and any of you Americans, you will know more about. You should call freedom in the land to all its inhabitants. Where is that declared on an important national symbol in America? You know?
The UN.
On? No? You don't know? And they read a copy of it here in Jerusalem. There's
Liberty Bell.
On the Liberty Bell. Rosendero. They didn't have a shofar. Instead, it had a bell. I think the bell is in, if I'm not mistaken, Philadelphia. There's Liberty Bell. It has written on it, what's written on this verse. You should call freedom to all the inhabitants. The United States is based on principles of 4 freedoms. Where they come from this passion to Chumash. There's so much the nation world taken from us, and we don't even appreciate that really comes from us. It comes from the Word of God. But we should all learn from this. We're in a situation mentioned by the prophet Isaiah. He says, you did not do according to the good laws of the nations of the world. You went up to their bad laws. But their good laws, you didn't fulfill. What are their good laws? Would have taken from us. And you didn't fulfill them. They fulfilled them. So Hashem is saying to us, it's time you woke up. So it's good they brought the Liberty Bell, a copy of it here, in this garden, Liberty Bell Garden, here down past the Chavia. So this is to remind us where it all comes from, and try to fulfill its message. So this is the first important principle. So I'll tell you, this explains us the following. What's all this 7? Where does it all come from? So you're quite right. What's the source of it? What's the source of the 7? Goes all the way through 7 times 7. Shabbat. Mentioned at the beginning of the Chumash. And what's mentioned there is really the basis of the whole attitude of the whole Bible, the whole Tanakh. Concept of 7. So, I don't know whether everybody has heard this. I've said it a few times, but I think I have to put us in the total picture. I have to say it again. Many of the listeners have not heard this concept. That the whole of the Tanakh has a multiple language. There are many aspects of the written Bible which one can only understand more deeply if one understands Hebrew. And we have to understand the Hebrew of the Bible is very significant. I want to say, the person who starts trying to understand the other ways of interpreting the Bible by bringing in words from other languages, which represent different concepts, is thereby misleading us to understand the inner meaning of every word of the Tanakh. So there's also a numerical significance. It goes all the way through the Tanakh. And here also, any numerical interpretation one makes. Today the most popular through the development of computers is what's called equidistant spacing of letters through certain number principles. With equidistant spacing, we have the same number of spaces between one letter and the next letter to make a code. By combining these letters into separate words, which is one of the methods we have in Jewish tradition. Another one, which is very well known, is gematria. Just take the numerical value from Aleph till Tav, which each letter has got a numerical significance. So everybody knows, I think who's listening, 22 letters. So it's from Aleph till Tav, the equivalent numbers, gematria, which also can be used, but also only with what's in the Tanakh. To go and extend gematria to non-Hebrew words, there's so many words which are transcribed from the Hebrew to another language in many different ways. I mean, as you'll see also, many translations they'll say, Yerushalayim, it's Yerushalayim, they call it Jerusalem. It's not the correct transliteration. Can't go and start making, if you want it to be something with clear meaning, in the Tanakh, by just taking the English word and saying, for example, it's a nice word. Take Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, we've got USA in the middle. Therefore, USA will only reach fulfillment if they are the ones who recognize the total Jerusalem. Total Jerusalem, you've got USA in the middle. Okay, it's a nice, witty word. And we wish it would be fulfilled tomorrow. Not so sure. No? There's a lot of ambivalence in the various political statements by the leaders. So that's, it's all right. You can make a speech interesting, but it's not authoritative. Because the numerical is important. On base is 7. So we know that the word 7 in Hebrew is Sheva. And the verb root of Sheva is to make an oath. So we had asked, what does the number 7 have to do with making an oath? So the easiest answer is given as follows. If you study the history of oaths and how they were used, what the difference in legal systems, in courts, or even peace contracts, people make oaths instead of just promises. And for many atheists, there's really no difference. Instead that here in Israel, and like also, we're really thankful for the atheists for this. For so many courts, you've got to swear by the name of God, and that a Jew should not do. And in nearly all circumstances, we're very careful not to do something. So, we are grateful to the atheists, not for not believing in God, and then forcing the courts, since they don't believe in God, even the agnostic sometimes take great opposition to making an oath on the Bible, on anything that represents the the Word of God, whichever God they believe in. So they introduced an affirmation, a multiple affirmation, by my personal confirmation. In Hebrew they call it Ani Bazel Noten Ishur Behin Tzedek Sheli Shema She'omar Kol HaEmet. A person, generally speaking, in a court is got to give testimony. I'm going to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. First of all, that's a very difficult thing to make an oath on, because I don't know that anybody who is able to say the whole truth about anything. The whole truth means taking every aspect of what you say into consideration. And it might come in a word which you might regret when you make a declaration, or testimony, or whatever. But of course, that you can answer by saying, well, I understand you're doing your best. Not just making a casual statement, making a really serious statement. Hin Tzedek means, Hin Tzedek, the Gemara said, means that my yes, which I say on something, is really true. So I'm saying, well, because since understood, I'm doing my best to tell the whole truth that I know, therefore it's good enough. I'm not transgressing a fault. It's only fault. But it's very much on the border, and it's very difficult to go and make an oath on something like that. And otherwise, therefore, don't go and make an oath by the word of God or by putting your hand on the Chumash or even another Bible, but use the affirmation. A good way out. We see from here Sheva in Hebrew is connected with 7 and connected with an oath. What's the connection? So the answer is, given by many, is that 7 is in nature also the number for harmony. Harmony in the world exists. Look, it was no less, I think, Kant, a great philosopher. He said, if you take chapter 19 of Tehillim, which he thought was a great chapter, so he said, the first 7 verses, they speak about how the heavens and the earth declare the glory of God. 7 verses. The 8th verse speaks about the moral teaching of God is perfect. So we know Kant's view was that there are 2 types of knowledge. One, not really knowledge, but actions are more or less predetermined. That's in the world of nature. Everything belongs to normal nature, including the body of the human being, follows certain laws and regularities, and are not really under the control of the human being. But the moral imperative is something outside. We can say that there's a difference in that which is and that which ought to be. That which is belongs to nature. Which ought to be is something, to some extent, above normal nature. It's imperative inside the human being to try to do good or to avoid doing good. That's what ought to be. There's freedom. That's how he answers the question between morality, he called it's got to be autonomous. It comes from the person himself to choose either good or evil, and that's not subject to what is. Whatever is comes through causality, but how to use it for good, use it for evil, then you get freedom. And it's interesting, he had a disciple, Haman Cohen, who he was one of the major disciples of Kant, and she became more religious bit by bit. He wrote a book called The Religion of Reason, Judaism. There's according to Kant, there's pure reason, and there's practical reason, natural reason, is reason which goes according to logic and according to causality, but pure reason is the purer aspect of reaching purity or impurity in all moral decisions. So this is not surprising that Hermann Cohen, even the Kantian philosophy, brought him to Judaism. And even more so, to say that the one who had made a doctorate on Kant and the Torah was the grandson of Rav Hirsch. Not surprising. A very brilliant philosopher. He was a lawyer by profession, Yitzchak Breuer, and he wrote many books on what's called Neo-Kantian philosophy, and how it, you can see, became very near to Jewish philosophy. And he went quite a long way in that direction. Well, I want to say, by the way, I know there was a certain person called Dr. Rosenblatt, I think grandson of the famous Hagen, and he wrote a book concerning Rabbi Hirsch, and saying that Rabbi Hirsch was primarily influenced by Hegelian and Kantian philosophy, which according to, I studied this subject quite a bit, and I think it's completely false. In fact, I produced an article, if anyone wants to look at it, from the issue of Jewish Study magazine, where I brought a deeper analysis of the teaching of Rav Hirsch, and I counteracted, brought many sources against the view of this, I think it was perhaps Electrian philosophy. I want to say Hirsch, on the contrary, Hirsch was great in that, he knew a lot of background, but he worked hard on trying to understand the significance of Torah philosophy from Torah itself, to take it out from the deeper aspects of the Torah, even from the language of the Torah. So we see it also in this matter, that it's the other way around. So this is shown a little bit by Breuer, Yitzchak Breuer. In fact, his philosophy is a fantastically deep analysis of the Torah outlook, and he became really the thinker of the movement of Agudat Israel. Agudat Israel was the idea to get all religious Torah Jews together and to try to develop. In the world where there is so much ignorance and so much influence from non-Jewish values, changing also the values of Jews that they adopt. And he was his works he worked on when he came here to Israel are an eye-opener to understand the relationship, we can say, between Torah and Derech Eretz in the right manner. Torah and Derech Eretz, by the first, was not the idea of making a synthesis between general culture and Jewish culture. It was rather to demonstrate how a person certainly can be the highest intellectual, but you've got to recognize that the Torah is necessary to give the correct guidance, the correct balance to all inner values. The other way around. It's really not like it's sometimes misinterpreted. And that's why we have today, Baruch Hashem, it's growing and growing, more and more great intellectuals, also amongst Jews, they begin to recognize that the Torah has to be the guide for thought and for practice, for Jews and for Gentiles. So, Tshuva, so that's why I say, 7 is a number we find in nature. We find it in the 7 colors spectrum. We find the 7 notes in the octave. It's found in many aspects, in the botanical world and in the zoological world, and also in the physiology of human being, that the cycle of 7 is basic to many different processes, including also it's been shown that nearly all the substances in the human body, they become renewed every 7 years. So, in other words, the substance which makes up different elements of physiology of the being, some even in the nervous system, that the substances, they are recharged. As they're born again, created again after 7 years. They decline a bit at the end of 7 years, then they make a renewal. So 7 is the principle of harmony, which you find in nature. And here we quote Einstein, who said, "My concept of God is the concept of harmony." It's such an exact harmony. I mean, if a person understands E equals mc squared, what that means, it means even the basic forces, which like Steve Hawking also says, today says this, at that time they thought more of the two forces of motion. On the one hand, mass and density motion, and the other force, electromagnetic force, two major forces. They already divide them into 4 major forces. And even Steve Hawkins, in his famous book, he says there, we know that there are 4 basic forces that produce energies, and we have to find a great universal principle that explains how these 4 forces harmonize. And that's what science today to try to find out the mind of God. So it comes near to that concept also. Harmony is the basis of seeing God in nature. So that's why Shavua, Sheva, the nature that is according to the numerical system of the Torah, both in the language and the paragraphs, the different structures of the text of the Bible, as well as in the fulfillment of the mitzvot. 7 represents the natural order which Hashem constantly recreates. The world says that when God created the world, it says that He created the world. It should be like carry on constantly. That is the law of nature. I refer to as special laws. The things should be reorganized according to the system of 7. So this is the concept. That's why Shavua means a week, and 7, and the concept Sheva, and Lihi Shava, to make an oath, means to take the master of the harmony of nature as my witness that I'm telling the truth. And even in the ancient verses, in the ancient formulations of an oath, whether it's amongst Jews or Gentiles, is that God or the gods, whatever it is, they should punish me if I don't fulfill what I'm going to say. So it's different to an ordinary statement. Ordinary statement, you don't record in the picture. Just I want to see you tomorrow. I want to do a deal with you tomorrow. I make a deal, and I promise to do it. Promise. Okay? So you broke your promise, means your word you can't rely on completely. It doesn't mean more than that. But to break an oath, you brought your God, amongst those believing gods, or your God, into the picture, what you're saying, and what is in some oaths which are mentioned more explicitly in the Tanakh, in the Bible. The Jew makes the oath by Hashem, the non-Jew makes the oath by his gods in the plural, and they say, both of them say, that by the life of the God, or by my life, yeah, that means the God is going to express himself, I don't fulfill it against me, I'm going to be punished from it. That's how swear words, they're really using oaths in vain. That's where the slang swear words come in. God should, used to say, God blimey, yeah? God blimey. It's one of the slang words in English. You're not going to say such a word, God blimey, or God damn me.
Oh
God damn you, God damn you. What's it mean? That in Rishon is used in the oath. God God should blind me if I'm not telling the truth. Yeah? Or God should blind you if you're not telling the truth. So that's where these words come from, the slang words. So this is Sheva. Sheva is nature, and the God of nature is the God of harmony. And that's why the 7 is always a higher level of confirmation, bringing God into it. But also the 7 itself is used as a symbol of nature. Therefore you find Beersheba, says in the Chumash, the promise made between Avraham Avinu and at the time the king of the original Palestinians, Avimelech. There's a lot of things in the Chumash about that contract. Some say because he made that contract, he was tested with the Al-Qaeda, who shouldn't have made a contract with such an unreliable person as Avimelech, who believed in other gods and so on. But it's called, it was made in Beersheba. Yeah, he made the contract. And why was it called Sheva? Because of the Shuur, they made an oath between them, and because they set aside 7 lambs. So, well, it might be another reason, 7 wells, but in the contract, that's because they set aside 7 lambs as a symbol of the 7, which raises the contract to become, it's a contract confirmed by God, and if you don't fulfill it, you'll be punished. Who kept it? Avraham, and his descendants also. Who didn't keep it? The Palestinians. Neither in the reincarnation of the Jewish people in our day and our Palestinian neighbors, the Palestinians, the same situation. But let's hope that they'll all keep to contracts to make peace, and then if I really understand what it means, we hope that contract will bring peace in our days.